So anyone can start a Roth IRA. Anyone. Um, you could have $1. There are investment accounts that you can start with $1. You don't have to have a lot of money to buy stocks. Yes, stocks have a certain value to them, but because of things like mutual funds, index funds, ETFs, you know, stock share fragments, like there's different ways that you can get a hold of the investment into a stock without having necessarily the full amount of money it would take to buy that stock. When you start with an investment account, I suggest Fidelity. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but I know they have a promotion where if you invest 50 bucks within 25 days, you'll get $100 added to the investment account, and that has to stay in there for minimum 90 days, but obviously you want to just leave it in there because it's a retirement account, and you want to have something when you retire. When you're old and gray and you can hardly work, you don't want to have to be stressing out about having to have a full-time job. You want to be able to have something of some sort to be able to use to live off of. And that's why you have a retirement account. The money in a Roth IRA is taxed when it's already being put in, which means later on, it's not taxed. No taxes on it. Yay! That's hugely helpful when you're an older person and you don't have to pay taxes on the money that you're using to help yourself. You can't take the money out without like being slammed with some kind of fee until you are older than 59, and you can't do that except with a couple of exceptions. For instance, you're allowed to take up to 10 grand out without it being, with it still being tax deductible, if you're using it toward your first house. So if you've never been a homeowner before, your very first home, you're allowed to use part of that for the down payment. But I would highly recommend just leaving it in there, letting it grow, because all of the money that grows from your investments inside that Roth IRA account also is tax-free. And you can put money into it up to 6,000 bucks a year. I think it just changed to 6,500. And your money, you invest it, and then whatever grows in there, just leave it there. Technically, you can take back out money that you've contributed into it, but I highly don't recommend it. Leave that money there. Let it grow. Let it get bigger, because it will compound itself. Compounding interest is a terrible, terrible thing if it's against you when you have something like a student loan, but it is a wonderful thing when it's working for you. So, you go to start your Roth IRA, and say you do it with Fidelity. I'm going to show how to do it in Fidelity because that's what I have. So, we'll say we have a fresh account. You can't really see much going on. When you first set up your new account, you're going to notice that it's got like some of the main things in the market showing. Right now, stuff's trending down because a lot of the pandemic surplus that corporations enjoyed and insane profit margins are being more evened out and less insane. So don't take that as everything's dying or falling apart. In actuality, they grew like crazy during the pandemic. Anyway, you go in there and you want to buy. When you go to buy, make sure that you're on stocks or ETFs, or maybe you want to buy an index fund. If you go for an index fund, you want it to be on mutual funds. Make sure your account's selected, and then symbol is basically the little tag tracker word or acronym for the index fund or the ETF or the stock or the mutual fund that you want to get. I highly recommend, if you are starting your very first account, to get a index fund first and then go for some ETFs. Do not buy straight out stocks if you can help it. Okay? So after you do that, you put in your symbol and you pick yourself something. I'm going to go ahead and here put SUSA because it is for environmentally sustainable situations, and I feel like A, that's good, I don't know why anyone would want to live on a highly polluted planet. Whether you believe in climate change or not, living in pollution's just dumb. And secondly, I think it's the future. So I'm going to invest in that. It's $86. I don't have $86, so instead I've got to select dollars and then the dollar amount to be 15 bucks. 15 bucks, that's all it takes. Make sure that you hit market and make sure that you hit buy, and then it'll let you preview your order before you go ahead and buy it. And make sure that this is what you want, it looks correct, everything's fine, and then you go ahead and place your order. The order will happen when the next market stuff happens. Index funds and ETFs can sometimes take it till the next day after 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So don't stress if it's not there right away. But it is important that if you're investing in an index fund, an ETF, anything like that, any capital gains, any basically growth that it has, capital gains means that it's grown in value, or dividends that you get, companies pay people for being a shareholder sometimes, that those things will be reinvested. So you might say, oh, well, this looks complicated. Investing into something and choosing it myself, that requires me to investigate things and research things. They do have managed accounts, and some places even have robo managed accounts, but it's really not that bad to go pick your first index fund and your first ETF and just call it good. You could even do a couple of index funds if that's safer is what you want to go for. Index funds are pretty safe. They're not the safest thing in the world, and I am not a financial advisor, so please don't legally come at me, but my recommendation is if you're new into it, get an index fund. Get a couple. Just invest into something. The money managed accounts have higher fees a lot of the times for them managing your money, and that can be complicated. After that, make sure you go and set yourself up for success by going into your account features, and then under account features, and again, this is in Fidelity. It's in different places and different types of investment stuff, but it's the same thing. Go to brokerage and trading, and then go to dividends and capital gains. And again, dividends is when a company pays you. Capital gains is the growth of value for your stocks or investments. So make sure right now it won't show anything because you just bought it and you don't have it yet. But once you have it, you come right here and just make sure you select the box that says to reinvest into the security. A security is something that you're investing into, like again an index fund or a mutual fund, stock, ETFs, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you just pick something. Some popular index funds are stuff like S&P 500 based ones, or ones that are whole market index funds, and again, the growth on them is a little slower, but at least it's growing and it's a lot more stable. It's a lot less giant of fluctuations of up and downs in the market. So if you want something that's more steady, then just go ahead and do that. But that's basically it. After you've got everything set up, which again, it can take a couple of days to do, you can just leave it there and just let it reinvest in itself, and a couple decades later come back and it will have grown. Now obviously I recommend at least once a year setting up for your account to be invested in from your own money contributions from your earnings from your job, or else you can set up automatic payments into your investment account. But basically you can invest up to 6K or possibly 6,500 if it changed to that this year. I think it did. You can invest that a year, and just again stick it all in your same index funds. That's fine. It's not a big deal what you're investing in when it's something that low in risk. If you go buying like individual stocks, that can get more dangerous. You want to do what's called diversification of your investments. You want to invest in more than one thing. Don't put all your eggs in a single basket. So even if you get an index fund, make sure you get a second index fund, which can be a little complicated because you don't want them to overlap too much, but that's a whole other section of stuff. What's the biggest main thing is don't overthink it so much. Don't be scared of it so much that you don't do it. Doing it at all is better than not doing it, period. Doing it at all, even if you make a mistake or two, is so much better than not making a Roth IRA. So get it set up, get it done. You can do it. You're gonna be awesome. It's gonna work out. Take a deep breath. You can lose money on the stock market, but the stock market as a whole tends to trend up, which is why index funds that are based on S&P 500 or whole money market index funds, they're gonna be decently safe because the whole market tends to trend upward. And again, I am not a financial advisor. That is not my legal job. But I'm just saying anyone can do this. Don't cut yourself short. Don't think that you can't have a retirement account. You're too poor. You don't have to put $50 in. You could put $1 in, and that dollar can still grow. You could only afford to put $10 a year into your investment account because you are so dirt broke. You are scared you could end up homeless, but you could still have a retirement account. Anyone can have a Roth IRA. It's who's in the United States. So if you're a citizen of the USA, make yourself a Roth IRA. Yeah, that even rhymed.